You've seen all those typical videos with home selling advice. Today, on this episode of Melanie Loves Tampa Bay, we're digging deeper. Hi everybody, Melanie Atkinson here, Realtor with Smith & Associates in beautiful Tampa Bay, Florida. Today I'm going to go past the obvious advice that most home sellers already know and talk to you about 5 home selling pitfalls that can really stress you out. The goal in this episode is to bring these pitfalls out in the open so you can be a smarter home seller and hopefully avoid ending up face first in home selling quicksand. Most home sellers focus on the preparation of their house, and that is super important. Yes, you need to declutter. Yes, you need to work on your curb appeal. Yes, you need to hire a professional realtor with local market knowledge that can help you through the whole process. But selling a house is so much more than just getting it ready to hit the market. I want to help you be a smart and therefore less stressed home seller. So here are my 5 home selling pitfalls that you need to be aware of. Number 1, the packing pitfall. Every seller feels like a hoarder at some point during the packing process. People do not know how much stuff they have jammed in the back of their linen closets, up in their attics, or in their kitchen cabinets until they start pulling it out to pack for their move. Don't wait until after you have a contract to do this. You already have to declutter to get your house ready to put it on the market. Go one step further and fully declutter. That means go through every cabinet and closet and get rid of everything that you don't want to take with you to your next home. Yes, it's a lot of work to do on the front end, but the payoff is a huge stress reduction when it comes time to move. There are going to be so many other things for you to worry about during the time. You don't need to worry about the old towels in the back of your linen closet when your close date is looming. Another benefit, and this is an important one, is that you will be able to more thoughtfully donate or consign items of value. Number 2, the financing pitfall. Congratulations, you got a great offer on your perfectly prepped house. The offer comes through with the buyer's pre-qualification letter and you are confident of the buyer's ability to close on that loan, but you shouldn't be. To be a smart home seller, you have to dig a little deeper and ask some very specific questions about that lender letter that came with their offer. Now, here's what you should be asking. Has the buyer just verbally talked with a lender and told them what their income and debts are? Or has the buyer provided the actual documentation to the lender that verifies their income and overall financial picture? Meaning their tax returns, their bank statements, their pay stubs. Has the lender run their credit yet? If the buyer for your house sends you a pre-approval letter that specifies that documentation has been provided to the lender and their credit has been run, then this piece of paper is far more valuable than the one from a buyer who has just verbally told their lender what their financial picture is. This seems obvious, right? Not necessarily. Sellers get so excited to accept an offer that they don't read what the lender letter actually says. Do your best to stay out of the financing pitfall and insist that the buyer of your home provide documentation to their lender before accepting their offer. Now, don't get me wrong. Going this extra step does not mean that the buyer's loan is necessarily going to close. There are still a lot of hurdles to overcome in the financing process, but going the extra mile and asking these questions will give you a little bit of peace of mind when accepting that buyer's offer. Number 3, the title pitfall. Home sellers very rarely think about whether there's something on the title of their home that might get in the way of the sale. The title company and the buyer's lender are going to need a title search run to make sure there are no clouds on the title. Was there a break in the chain of title at some point? Is there a lien still attached to the property? Or are there inaccuracies in the legal descriptions? These are just a few examples of title pitfalls that can get in the way of your home sale. Another search that buyers will typically do is a permit search. Does your house have any open permits that you don't know about? If it does, the buyer will probably want those permits closed, and that can be a long and expensive process that may delay your closing. If you want to get ahead of any potential title problems that may affect your sale, go ahead and meet with a trusted title agent prior to listing your home. Have them run the searches, and that way you know if there's any potential title pitfalls that might get in the way. Number 4, the inspection pitfall. Sellers say to me all the time, Melanie, there's nothing wrong with my house. And I totally believe them, I really do. But what I also know is that sellers aren't going through their house with a fine-tooth comb the same way that inspectors do. Imperfections will be found, even on the most well-cared-for homes. You, as a smart home seller, are going to go into inspection day knowing that the buyer may ask for some repairs, and that's okay. But Melanie, you might say, I have an as-is contract. I don't have to do repairs. These contracts are very popular in the state of Florida, and I wish I could say that that were true. But a good percentage of the time, buyers will still ask you to do some repairs. You then have to decide if you want to do these repairs or run the risk of the buyer canceling the contract and falling headfirst in the inspection pitfall. Every transaction is different and should be evaluated individually. That is what your realtor is there to help you with. But before you make an emotional decision not to do repairs, look at what the inspector found. Are there things that might come up on a different buyer's inspection report? Are there safety hazards found in your home that you should want to repair just because you're still living there? Is there a water intrusion somewhere, no matter how small, that if not stopped will create more damage? In a lot of cases, it's in the best interest of all parties to do certain repairs. Repair negotiations can be tricky, so be a smart home seller and go into it with realistic expectations. Number 5, the appraisal pitfall. A buyer lender needs a third party to verify that your house is actually worth what the contract price is. As the proud owner of the house, you know why it's worth every penny that the buyer is willing to pay. Heck, it's probably worth more in your mind. They're looking at it in a very clinical way, and they have guidelines that they have to follow. So how can you be a smart home seller on appraisal day? Make sure your home is show ready when the appraiser comes out. Yes, appraisers are supposed to look past your boxes and clutter, but they're human too. It only makes sense to have your house looking its best on the day that somebody is going to value it. I also ask my sellers to leave a list of upgrades and renovations that they've done along with the approximate cost. If you put a new roof on, put that on the list and the approximate cost. New AC, that goes on the list too, and so on and so forth. I then give that list to the appraiser so he or she has all the information that the home seller would want them to have. Even with a perfectly cleaned house and all the right information, there is no guarantee that your appraisal is going to come in on value. It is out of your hands, which is what makes this a crazy pitfall. Remember, it does take several days for the lender to get the appraisal report back, so don't expect an answer the next day. Be patient. If the value does come in low, your realtor should be able to advise you on the best course of action. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Melanie Loves Tampa Bay. I hope you found this information helpful, and I hope you make it over all those home selling pitfalls. Go ahead and hit that like button or leave me a comment below, or consider subscribing to this channel, Melanie Loves Tampa Bay, if you want to know more about home trends, real estate in general, or life in the Tampa Bay area. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or check out my website, MelanieLovesTampaBay.com. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode, and I'll see you next time. With love, Melanie.